Hey everyone, how are y'all doing? Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm doing the Anti-TBR Tag. So this was created by Nicole and her books. I'll make sure to link her video down below so you guys can go check her out. I absolutely love her channel, so if you are not already following her, make sure that you do. And I was actually tagged to do this video by Peyton from Peyton Reads, who is also one of my best friends. I'll also link her video down below. And this is basically just a tag where you talk about books and series and authors that you don't want to read from or that you don't like, and it just seems like a really fun video. Obviously, disclaimer, if you like these books or these authors or whatever, that is okay. These are just my feelings and opinions and thoughts, and I'm not trying to attack you or your favorite book. So with that out of the way, let's just get into the tag. So the first question is a popular book that everyone loves but you have no interest in reading. So I actually have two answers for this one, and the first one is An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. So the thing is I had like a brief moment of wanting to read this book. I wanted to read it for like a slight moment when it first came out. I remember I think I picked it up in Walmart maybe and like looked at it for like a second and then decided it wasn't for me. And then I remember again the paperback was on sale at Chapter, so I decided to sit there and read a couple pages and see if I wanted to read it. And I just have no interest in it. It doesn't seem like something I'd be interested in. Maybe one day I'll read it. I know that a lot of people love it. I know that Lisa recently has become obsessed with it, but I just don't know if this is something that I would want to read or something that I would enjoy. And the next one is Nevernight by Kristoff. I also had a slight moment where I wanted to read this book. I think it was last year. Everybody was talking about this book last year and like still this year and whatnot, and I saw it at the library and I almost picked it up and then I didn't because I was like, it's a high fantasy, I'm not gonna read it, maybe one day. And then Peyton tried to read it. I don't even think she finished it, and she said it was just so hard to get into. It's like dense and there's like footnotes and nothing about that interests me, but I have heard good things about the first two books. At least I've been hearing really bad things about the last one. I just have no interest. The next question is a classic book or an author that you don't have any interest in reading. I'm not a huge classics person, and if I read classics, it's typically like children's classics. I feel like I don't have any interest in reading most things. I don't have an interest in reading like any like Charles Dickens, or like I can't even like think of classics off the top of my head. I don't know. I feel like the only ones that I am interested in reading are like anything by Ella Montgomery and like famous children's classics. I might read Little Women, maybe Jane Austen, you know, but anything besides those I feel like I have absolutely no interest in reading. So I don't have like a solid answer for this one, but it's pretty much just any classic. You can probably safely assume that I don't want to read it. The next question is an author that you have no interest in reading, and honestly I couldn't think of an answer for this one, and probably because I've just shoved it out of my head. There have been authors that I've tried to read from that I can't get into and that I won't read from in the future, but I think just like a couple off the top of my head that I probably won't read from is like Kristoff, Amy Kaufman. I feel like I'll never touch a Stephen King book again after trying to read it. I feel like there are authors that I won't read from. I'm just, besides those ones, none are coming to my mind like right off the bat. The next question is an author you've read a couple of books from and have just decided they're not for you. So for that one I went with like Holly Black. I've like genuinely tried, and the only thing I've enjoyed is her co-written series with Cassie Clare, which is a Magisterium series. Those are the only ones that I can get into, and even then I'm not like obsessed with them. I tried reading Dull Bones, I tried reading The Coldest Girl in Coal Town, and I'm just not a fan. I don't have any interest in reading The Darkest Part of the Forest or like any of those. The next question is a genre you have no interest in, or a genre you tried to get into and couldn't. So I feel like for me my default answer to questions like these is always sci-fi. I have read sci-fis, I have enjoyed sci-fis, but overall rarely ever reach for sci-fi. The only sci-fis I could really say that I've enjoyed are like the Lunar Chronicles books, or ones that are very like low sci-fi, like Warcross. Is that considered a sci-fi? I'm not entirely sure, but I'm just like really not into sci-fi, specifically when it's set in space or if it's really overly sciencey, because I'm not a science person. It was always my least favorite subject in school. I just don't enjoy reading about things like that for the most part. Number 6, a book that you have bought but will never read. I didn't write like the full questions down in my notebook, but I'm pretty sure this one's like, you could say like a book that you've unhauled or a book from the library that like you've returned or something. So for this one I chose The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Ahdieh. This is a book that I unhauled I think maybe in 2018. It was a book that I purchased when it came out or shortly after it came out because everybody was talking about it, everybody was raving about it, and back then I was very susceptible to the hype, and I bought it even though I didn't really have that much interest in it. I never read it. I don't even think I actually picked it up ever to read it. Like I think it might have been on some TBRs, but I genuinely don't think I ever read a page of that book while I owned it. It's just not something that I've ever been that interested in. I shouldn't have purchased it, but I did. I have no interest in reading this book. I've heard mixed things about about it. I've heard mixed things about the sequel. I'm just not into it. The next question is a series you have no interest in reading or a series you started and DNF'd. So I'm gonna do a series that I started and DNF'd just because I kind of already talked about series for the first question. So there are two main series that I could think of that I've started and will not be finishing that are really popular. The first one is The Daughter of Smoke and Bone Trilogy by Laini. I read the first book back, I think, in 2014 before I started my booktube channel, and I just couldn't get into it. I don't think necessarily that it was a bad book, I just think it really wasn't for me. I enjoyed the first like 50 or so pages of it. I liked the way that it was going, and then all of a sudden it just like took this turn that I just wasn't expecting, and it got really weird, and I think I went in with the wrong expectations, honestly, but I also just personally didn't enjoy the writing. I think I found it confusing. I mean, it's been like 6 years since I've read it, so I don't remember a whole lot, but I just have absolutely no interest in reading this book or really anything else by Laini Taylor. It's just nothing. It's just not what I'm interested in. I'm sorry, I know a lot of people like that series, but it's just no. And the next series is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. So this one is honestly heartbreaking. I read the first book maybe in 2017, if I remember correctly. I didn't even finish it. When I tell you that I literally had like 50 pages left of this book and I just couldn't bring myself to finish it, I had 50 pages left, maybe even less than that. It was like this much. It was so small and I just could not do it. I didn't like the story. I thought it was very boring. I didn't like the relationship that was brewing. It was like with the main character and like this girl who was like a part of Miss Peregrine's children and like in the whatever, in the time loop they were in. But she was like our main character's grandpa's girlfriend back when like they were kids. But like why? Why would the main character be even semi-interested in a girl that his grandpa dated? If you don't know anything about this series, that sentence sounded really weird, but like she's stuck in a time loop, so she's like a kid. It's just weird. It's really weird. Was not a fan. And the reason why this is so heartbreaking to me is because I really liked the creepy pictures in the book. I thought it was really intriguing. And I just really like Ransom Riggs as a person. He's married to Tahara Mafi, who's one of my favorite authors, and I love them so much. But I can't get into his books. Maybe if he writes something different in the future, maybe I'll pick it up if it sounds interesting. I'm just not interested in the Miss Peregrine's series at all. And the last question is a new release that you have no interest in reading. I literally could not think of a single book for this one. I think it's because I just don't pay attention most of the time to books that I'm not interested in, and so I genuinely could not think of a book coming out in the next few months or whatever that I'm not interested in, so I don't have an answer for this one, and I hate not answering questions in a tag, but I don't have an answer. So that was the anti-TBR tag. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm not going to be specifically tagging anybody in this video because I don't know who has or hasn't done it, but if you have a channel or any kind of social media platform and you want to do this tag, then you are free to say that I tagged you. Comment down below a popular book that you have no interest in reading because I'd really like to know. Subscribe if you have not yet already, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.